Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vakratunda Mahakaya, Suryakoti Samaprabha, Nirvighna Kuru Me Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada, Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini, Vidyarambham Karishyami, Siddhir Me Sada. Om Shri Matre Namaha. Harihi Om. So I'm very excited about today because uh, see, all of this that has been going on is actually to the culmination of understanding and the reading of Devi Mahatmyam. Devi Mahatmyam is, see, for 100 shlokas, we took nearly 2 years. So Devi Mahatmyam, 700 shlokas, I don't know how much time. No, it won't go like that. See, because we will not get into the chanting per se. Chanting you can learn from the YouTube. You can learn from many places where you can learn the chanting specifically. What is important is uh, to learn the esoteric meanings of that entire text. See, so Devi Mahatmyam. Where is the Devi Mahatmyam found? The Devi Mahatmyam is found inside Markandeya Purana. It is found inside Markandeya Purana. In so, where is Markandeya Purana? Just 1 second, please. Uh, so, Markandeya Purana is actually an Upapurana. It is not a Mahapurana. It is not a Purana. So, in the list of Puranas, there are basically, if you look at firstly, you have to understand the Puranas. So, there are Puranas. Puranas basically talk of 5 Lakshanas. There are 5 Lakshanas: Sarga, Pratisarga, etc., etc. Right? Vanshanugraha, Vanshanukrama, all of these. So, in each yuga, how this cosmos came into being, how was the secondary creation happening. So, in our case, for example, how did this earth come into being according to Srimad, according to, let us say, Matsya Purana? It will have come into being because at one point of time, the earth manifested through the breath of Brahma, etc., etc. Right? So, each Purana has it talks of a particular period of time, and in that particular period of time, how that earth came into being, how this universe came into being. Now, in that earth, how did human beings come into existence? How did cows come into existence? That is called Pratisarga. Then who were the kings? What did they do in that? Then the fourth part will be what were the interesting incidents that happened in that period? And finally, how will that yuga or how will that particular creation come to an end? So 5 components. When you say there is a Mahapurana, there are only 2. Srimad Bhagavad Mahapurana, Devi Bhagavata Mahapurana. When you say Mahapurana, then 5 more Lakshanas are added. These 5 Lakshanas include the forms and Leelas of Devi, or the forms and Leelas of Sri Mahavishnu, the avatars that he has held, the interactions with the human beings that he has held, the way by which you can worship him, the methodologies, the rituals to be conducted. These are all extra lakshanas to any Purana. These are called Mahapurana. And there are, as I said, there are only 2. Devi Bhagavata Mahapurana and Srimad Bhagavata Mahapurana. One dealing with Devi, the other dealing with Vishnu. Markandeya Purana is a Upapurana. So firstly, as I said, 2 Mahapuranas, then 18 Puranas. These Puranas are divided into 4 large segments. One, which are called Shaiva Puranas. which extol Shiva as the ultimate being. Example will be Shiva Purana, Linga Purana, etc., etc. Then there are Vaishnava Puranas, which extol the Vishnu as the ultimate being, right? Matsya Purana is an example, right? Then we have the Brahma Puranas, where Brahma is extolled as extolled as the supreme being. Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Brahmanda Purana, Padma Purana. These are all Puranas which are extolling Brahma. And then there is the Devi Purana, Śākta Puranas, right? None of these fall into this list of 18. None of them. Kalika Purana, Markandeya Purana, all of these, they fall into another category called Upa Puranas. Are they therefore not important? Of course they are important. But they are not classified like that for the simple reason that they were less accessible to the people. So the Śākta Puranas were less accessible. I heard a very interesting thing. So somebody asked, this is to a pravachak called young chap called Dushyant Sridhar. If you have been listening to him, you will find a lot of English also. He speaks in Tamil, but he is also speaks a lot in English. He is a young engineer who is from a Vaishnava tradition, Sri Vaishnava tradition, Vishishta Advaita tradition. And he was asked, see, you are talking of Lakshmi, you are talking of Devi as very important, but in the Rig Veda, there are very few mentions of Devi. So he said, when you go to the market, you will find a lot of hardware stores. Correct? Hardware stores will be there, many hardware stores. There will be fewer number of goldsmiths and even lesser number of diamond merchants. Similarly, in the Rig Veda, the more precious the thing is, the rarer it is in the Rig Veda also. So when you are looking at Devi, you are looking at a diamond merchant. What a beautiful example. So in the Śākta traditions, Devi's worship was not made to be very accessible because of the fact that Devi interacts with this world. Devi is this world. And therefore, her energy can be used. See, energy can be used for anything. I can use a knife. For what? Or I can use to cut vegetables, or I can use it to cut somebody's throat. The tool is not to be faulted. The intent is to be faulted, right? So therefore, or to be praised. So therefore, Devi is like an energy. It's an energy pool. And that energy pool, how you access it, what you do with it. And that is why those concepts of what is called black magic in terms of doing marana and all those things, they existed. Because it's an energy, and if I can focus into that energy, I can tap into that energy and pick it up and therefore redirect it to do something, the energy will do it. I can use a laser beam to cut through something. I can use the same laser beam in a different intensity with a different means to operate on a very delicate thing such as a cataract. How the energy will be used will depend upon the intent and the tool that we are using. And hence, the rishis, what they did is, they kept these a little bit more secret than the more accessible Puranas. So we will start from there. So therefore, firstly, Markandeya Purana. Devi Mahatmyam forms a small portion of Markandeya Purana. That is the first thing. Second, Devi Mahatmyam per se is a text which is it is a text which is basically, if you look at it, let me put it this way. The Purva, it is a text that comes with Purvanga, then it comes with the main text, and then it comes with Uttaranga. So what is Purvanga? This is what you are supposed to do or recite before you recite the main text. And then there is Uttaranga. Uttaranga means that which you are supposed to do and recite after having done the total recitation. Does this exist with any other text? Actually, no. Only and only Devi Mahatmyam has both Purvanga and Uttaranga. Sri Rudram, when you're doing a Rudra Abhishekam using Sri Rudram, the 11 stanzas which praise Rudra, part of the Rig Veda as well as the Krishna Yajurveda. When you are doing that, there is a nyasa. The nyasa has two parts, Mahanyasa as well as Lagunyasa. Maha being big, Lagu means small. Mahanyasa और Lagunyasa. घर में पूजा करते हैं, लघुन्यास करके पूजा कर लेते हैं, शिवाभिषेक कर लेते हैं. बट बड़ा फंक्शन करते हैं. मेरे घर में गणपति पूजा होती है जब, तो वी डू दी एकादश रुद्री. एकादश रुद्री में महान्यास करते हैं. बट अदर देन दैट देयर इज नो पूर्वांग. So therefore, Devi's this particular thing is very, very important, where the Purvanga is a part of this. How do we start the Purvanga? We start with the first Achamana. Now, in typical Achaman, Aditi, you will remember this. Aditi, Achaman में क्या करते हैं हम लोग? Om.
ओम केशवाय नमः, ओम माधवाय
Very
नमः,
good.
ओम नारायण नमः, ओम गोविंदाय नमः.
Correct. Right?
प्राणिं
देवी
समर्पयामि.
देवी पूजा में आचमन चेंज हो जाता है. ओम ऐं आत्मतत्वाय शोधयामि, and then you drink. ओम ह्रीं विद्या तत्वं शोधयामि, second. ओम क्लीं शिव तत्वं शोधयामि. ओम ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं सर्वतत्वं शोधयामि. So केशवाय नमः, नारायण नमः has changed. So normal आचमन से भी ये change हो जाता है. Right? Now, typically what happens in any puja, we take, see, Devi puja is very different. The whole approach to Devi is very different, because now you're dealing with raw energy. You're dealing with energy at the rawest form. Just give me 1 second, please.
Okay.
Sorry. So now, so we are saying a very different आचमन. Then typically when we are doing the normal puja, आचमन करने के बाद ही शुक्लांबरधरम विष्णुम शशिवर्णम चतुर्भुजम, राइट? यहाँ वैसे नहीं होता है. आचमन करके ही पहले आसन की पूजा करना पड़ता है, आसन शुद्धि. Because now when you sit down to do Devi puja, see, again, you're dealing with energy. So when you're sitting down and dealing with energy, and energy is all around you, you can't suddenly get up and walk away. Right? So therefore, you do an asana shuddhi and you sit in that asana so that you are now grounded permanently. Uske baad, now in Devi worship, the most important aspect is Guru Vandana. So therefore, the next step, even before we do Ganesha Puja or Ganesha Shuklambaradham के पहले गुरु की पूजा या गुरु की वंदना करने के लिए, तो इसमें सारे देवी पूजा में मुद्रास की भी बहुत यूज होती है. And as we go through, we will learn a few of the mudras also, right? The easier ones, at least, I will be able to show and learn on this, but others we will see as to what we can do. So this you hold like this, right? And then you touch these two, and then you touch them at the base of at the top of your head. This is, you are imagining the feet of your guru on your head. The guru is sitting and standing on your head, and you are touching both his feet with your these fingers. And this is called the Sringa Mudra. Sringa Mudra. And then you recite the Guru Stotras, right? Starting with Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam तत्पदम दर्शितम येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. गुरु चरित्र से ये सारे श्लोक हम आते हैं. इसमें से हम लोग उसके 8 श्लोक होते हैं. ये 8 श्लोक हम लोग रिसाइट करते हैं. गुरु वंदना करने के बाद देन यू डू व्हाट इज कॉल्ड द प्राणायाम. आचमन के बाद प्राणायाम, दैट इज नेचुरल. उसके बाद गुरु वंदना, उसके बाद गणपति ध्यान. नाउ अगेन, गणपति ध्यानम इज नॉट नॉर्मल शुक्लांबरधरम, but you do Ganapati Dhyanam with a particular Dhyana shloka called, which is beginning with Bijapura वो मैं जब हम लोग करेंगे तब एक एक करके करूंगा। तो बीजापुर फल, बीजापुर फल का मतलब होता है हम लोग इसको सीताफल बोलते हैं, राइट। तो सीताफल जो इसको बोलते हैं, वो सीताफल बीजापुर फल, उसको हाथ में लिए हुए ऐसे एक्सेट्रा। ब्यूटीफुल डिस्क्रिप्शन। ध्यान श्लोकस आर डिस्क्रिप्टिव श्लोकस। सिंदूरारुण विग्रहाम, right? You remember all of it. So
मालिक्यम
they are descriptive. This सिंदूर वर्ण की है, 3 आंखों वाली है, उसके पैर के रक्त घटस्थ रक्त चरणाम, एक लाल रंग के घट के ऊपर में लाल रंग के पैर रखे हुए हैं, ऐसे इसकी डिस्क्रिप्टिव है, राइट। वो सो ऑल द ध्यान श्लोकास wherever we see, even in Vishnu Sahasranam we have seen, right? हीरोदन्वत् प्रदेशे शुचिमणि विलसत् सैकते मौक्तिका नाम, कैसे वो सोए हुए हैं, अनंत शयन में सोए हुए हैं, वो पूरा ब्यूटीफुल डिस्क्रिप्शन है। तो वैसे ये गणपति का भी ध्यान श्लोक जो है वो हम लोग सीखेंगे, विच इज अ ब्यूटीफुल डिस्क्रिप्टिव श्लोक, नॉट शुक्लांबरधरम विष्णु, विच इज अ प्रेयर। शुक्लांबरधरम विष्णु इज अ प्रेयर। शुक्लांबरधरम विष्णु शशिवर्णम चतुर्भुजम प्रसन्नवदनम ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। प्लीज रिमूव all the vignas, which is important. But in Devi worship, Ganapati's position is a little higher in terms of the fact that he is the favorite son, right? I don't know if Devi has any favoritism. Personally, I don't believe that. But then, if I normally address Ganapati himself as keeping on telling him, I actually call him my elder brother. So I keep telling him, जाके मम्मी को बोल के आओ. So therefore, we have गणपति ध्यान। गणपति ध्यान हम करने के बाद अभी संकल्प। Why am I doing? संकल्प is basically, Devi is इच्छा शक्ति, ज्ञान शक्ति, क्रिया शक्ति. But sankalpa is a power given to us. It is our power of choice. Sankalpa is our power of choice. So I am choosing to do this worship. Now here comes the trick. Because the trick is, remember that Devi is also Bhranti, right? Bhranti means confusion. Bhranti means covering. She can therefore confuse you. And therefore you sit down and say, I am doing this because mama dhana upadhana arthe. I want wealth, right? I want health. Now the moment it becomes that, maybe you will get it. It's not that you will not get it. Devi gives everything that you ask for. But the moment you make this transactional, you have limited yourself completely, right? When Ravan did such a ghora tapasya that he became classified as one of Shiva's most important bhaktas. Even today, when we do the Abhisheka of Shiva, the Shiva Tirtha is not directly received by the bhakta. We cannot receive it directly. It is first poured over Nandi. Nandi has to dilute it. The impact of Shiva Tirtha is so much that Nandi has to first dilute it. After that, it is given to Banasur and Ravan. Only then it is received by us. इतनी ऊंची स्थान पे रहते हुए भी, what did Ravan ask for when Shiva manifested in front of him? Oh, give me your sword. Give me Chandrahasa. Give me rulership over, lordship over the three kingdoms. This was because the ego was still in the transactional mode, right? The ego was, but Vibhishan said, oh, I don't want anything. I just wanted to call you and praise you. Ah, very good. Become immortal. Because you did not ask for immortality, I am giving you immortality. Vibhishan became immortal. So how and what we do with cosmic energy will depend upon us. So Sankalpa is a very important portion. In Sankalpa, we start off by placing ourselves in this entire universe. Mamopata, Durita, Kshayadvara, and then we start Shubhe, Shobhane, Muhurte, Adya Brahmana, first Brahmana, Tvitiye Pararthe, uske life के second half में, श्वेत वराह कल्पे, उसके हर लाइफ के अंदर में बहुत सारे कल्प हुए हैं, उसके अंदर में श्वेत वराह कल्पे, उस कल्प के अंदर में 14 मनवंतर होते हैं, उसके अंदर में 7वां मनवंतर वैवस्वत मनवंतरे, उस मनवंतर के एक एक मनवंतर के अंदर में 4 युग बहुत बार 100 बार होते हैं, उसके अंदर में अष्टाविंशतितमे कलियुगे 28 कलियुग के अंदर में प्रथमे पादे फर्स्ट क्वार्टर ऑफ द कलियुगा right? Now you placed yourself in time, in cosmic time. Now you place yourself in this world. Jambudvipe, Bharatavarshe, Bharatakhande, Meroho, Dakshine Parshve. Mero yani Kailash. Kailash ke Dakshine Parshve. Now if you are in Russia, then you will say Meroho Uttare Parshve. Right? You are in the US, you will say Meroho Paschime Parshve. So you place yourself in this world according to the axis. And the axis is not the North Pole. The axis is Meru, which for us is Kailash. So Meroho Dakshine Parshve. Then which place, which nagar, etc., etc. Now you place yourself in local time. Local time. Kaunsa saal. Right? We have a 60-year time cycle. 60-year time cycle है हमारा. षष्ट्याब्द संवत्सराणाम. कौन सा संवत्सर अभी चल रहा है? विश्वावसु. राइट. विश्वावसु नाम संवत्सरे. इस संवत्सर के दो भाग होते हैं, उत्तरायण पूर्व दक्षिणायन. राइट. तो दक्षिणायने या उत्तरायणे, अभी उत्तरायण चल रहा है, उत्तरायणे. फिर उत्तरायण के अंदर में नेक्स्ट लार्ज सेगमेंट विल बी विच ऋतु. नाउ द ऋतु विल डिपेंड अपॉन वेयर यू आर इन इंडिया. हम लोग कभी ग्रीष्म ऋतु बोल रहे हैं, राइट? बट यू गो टू तमिलनाडु, इन तमिलनाडु दे विल से वसंत ऋतु. Because depending upon where you are in the latitude, the ritu will change. So, such and such ritu. In that ritu, which month? 12 months are fixed. Correct? Which month ka kaun sa bhag? The month is divided into two parts.
Krishna Paksha, Shukla Paksha.
Correct. Which Paksha? In that Paksha, which Tithi? In that Tithi, which Nakshatra? Right? You have placed yourself in space on earth in this particular moment. The whole idea is to ground yourself in now rather than thinking about kal kya hoga, kal kya hua tha, which is where our thoughts are now most of the time. Instead of that, this whole process of sankalpa is now. Having done that, you say, I am now doing this for what purpose? And I generally say, there is only one prescription. Achanchala, dhrida, nishkapata, bhakti, praptyarthe, et ye puja karishye. Whatever the puja is. Only three things. Actually, only one thing, qualified by three things. I want bhakti. Bhakti is not something that you can acquire. It is given. Right? Bhakti arises. Bhakti does not. Bhakti is not like knowledge. Bhakti, you can get knowledge by doing a lot of study. By doing a lot of study, instead of bhakti, I may land up with having ego. And I will then say, oh, I have studied so much. So that bhakti के लिए grace जरूरी है, करुणा जरूरी है, कृपा जरूरी है. तो वो कृपा करुणा के लिए प्रे करते हैं हम लोग. कैसा भक्ति? अचंचला. Right? Achanchala. Not only during the times of trouble. During the times of good times, she is forgotten. So, Achanchala, Dhrida, one track bhakti, Dhrida bhakti. And Nishkapata. Kapata bhakti is, अरे अभी ना घर पे पुरोहित आने वाला है, पंडित जी आने वाले हैं, एक काम करो जल्दी से अभी धोती पहनो, माथा पे ये विभूति लगाओ, रुद्राक्षमाला पहनो, बैठ जाओ. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa used to say, I am more afraid of more than the sinners in this world, I am afraid of those who pretend to be pure. Right? So, Nishkapata. In the Sri Vidya tradition, which is very beautiful, Sri Vidya उपासक जो है, वो दूसरे श्री विद्या उपासक को देखकर ही पहचान जाता है ये श्री विद्या उपासक है. मगर उसके बाहरी लक्षण कुछ नहीं दिखेंगे आपको. Very rare. Very rare. Right? वो श्री विद्या उपासक हूं मैं, इतने बड़े बड़े गले में रुद्राक्ष पहन लिया, इतना बड़ा सिंदूर का टीका लगा लिया. Right? Normally, you will not find that happening. So the Sri Vidya Upasaka is in the world, with the world, but actually floating on it, not affected by it, because he is actually on the lap of Devi. So Now you have done the sankalpa. Having done the sankalpa, now you do something very, very interesting. You do something called the utkilanam. Now, this is only for Devi Mahatmyam. दूसरे कहीं नहीं है. Right? There is a mantra. The mantra has a certain set of bijaksharas. And then it says, utkilanam kuru kuru swaha. Kilanam means kill, nail. Right? So, please remove the nail. Please unlock. Right? Unlock. Utkilanam kuru kuru swaha. Then you do something called, this is normally recited for 21 times, but in general, people don't do 21, they do 208. Depending on the intensity that they want to generate. So, or the feeling that, okay, now unlocking of this energy has not yet happened or not happened. Now, then after that, there is something called a Shapodharana mantra. Now, Devi Mahatmyam is supposed to be a cursed text. Why is it cursed? Where do you find it being cursed? There is no text. No Purana has this mention of the text of this curse. It is there in all oral traditions. So when I was taught, somebody else is taught, they are all taught that there is a curse involved. What does this curse mean? Curse does not mean that the text is cursed. It actually means that it is concealed. It is concealed. And it is concealed by 3 rishis. Brahma as a rishi, Vishwamitra as a rishi, and Vasishtha as a rishi. And the mantra again uses some certain bijaksharas. After the bijaksharas, it says, Shapa anugraha kuru kuru swaha. Shap ko anugraha mein badal do. Shap ko anugraha mein badal do. Shapa anugraha kuru kuru swaha. Again to be recited 108 times. After having done all this, then we start with the Bhuta Shuddhi. Bhuta Shuddhi, you purify the external elements around you, including the internal elements around you. The body starts getting purified. Right? Specific mantras to be used. Bhuta Shuddhi. Now begins a placement. We do what is called Nyasa. Nyasa, I told you, Rudram mein bhi Nyasa hai. Yahan Nyasa bhi, same idea is the same. Nyasa means placing. Nyasa means placing, right? Being attached to. Sannyasa, therefore, means removing all attachments. So when you say somebody is a sannyasi, he has removed all attachments. He has removed. Nyasa se hat gaya hai. Now when you do nyasa, when we'll get into this in more detail. So we do the nyasa. In the nyasa, there are, for types of nyasas, I will explain those most probably today itself. We will get into understanding these nyasas. So there is a Rishyadi Nyasa, Karanyasa, Anganyasa, right? Varnanyasa. Placing of all these, we will get into some details here. So there is Nyasa. After the Nyasa, then we start with the actual recitation of certain shlokas. So the first is the shloka called Devi Dhyanam. Now normally for the Dhyanam, in the Devi Mahatmyam, in the beginning of each section, there are dhyana shlokas, which describe the Devi. The form of Mahakali, the form of Mahalakshmi, the form of Mahasaraswati, how they are looking, how many hands, what are the instruments they are, or weapons they are holding in their hands, what is she riding, what is she doing, right? All of that is beautifully described. Those dhyana shlokas, we will go into much detail when we start doing the main text. But those dhyana shlokas are actually recited before we start the whole process. So first the 3 dhyana shlokas, main 3 dhyana shlokas. Then, having done the dhyana shlokas, then we start with the Ratri Suktam. Now, Ratri Suktam, there are 2 different Ratri Suktams. One is a Ratri Suktam which is called the Rigvediya Ratri Suktam. It is in the Rigveda. The second Ratri Suktam links this Rigvediya Ratri Suktam with the Devi Mahatmyam. Because if you remember the first chapter, I'm sure all of you have read the Devi Mahatmyam. So the first chapter, Mahavishnu is in Yoga Nidra, correct? And Brahma does stuti to Devi Yoga Nidra, and she comes out from the body of Vishnu, and therefore Vishnu awakens and is able to kill Madhu and Kaitava with the help of Devi Yoga Nidra. This Yoga Nidra is nothing but Ratri. So Ratri as a Devi. Now typically हम लोग enlightenment को क्या बोलते हैं? Light. Right? Even the word enlightenment, we use the word light. But here we are getting into saying enlightenment nahi hai. This is Ratri, covering. And we will examine that in greater detail. So Ratri Suktam, Rigvediya Ratri Suktam. The other stuti that was done by Brahma to praise Devi Yoga Nidra is called the Tantrokta Ratri Suktam. Tantrokta Ratri Suktam. That is not what is recited in the beginning. In the beginning, we do Rigvediya Ratri Suktam. Very short, 8 slokas only. 8 slokas only. Rigvediya Ratri Suktam. After that, we do Kavacham. Devi Kavacham. Now, in Nyasa, we placed Devi into our body, converting our body into Devi Maya. We convert our body into Devi Maya. Now we invoke this Devi in the various parts of our body to protect us from all negativity while we are doing the Devi Mahatmya study. That is called Devi Kavacham. I think we have already studied the Kavacham, right? We have studied the Kavacham. If any of you can remember which episode it was, you can remark that on the group so that people like Aditi who have joined later, they can go back to that particular one and they can go to that particular episode, right? So Sitaji, I'm asking you to do this because you were there for the Kavacham. So you look for it and then you can mark it, say with episode number such and such. Then Devi Kavacham. After that, there is Devi Argala. Again, we have done this. Argala basically means वो क्या बोलते हैं उसको? Latch, right? The latch. So Argala is the latch. So by reciting Argala Stotram, you are unlatching the door to the energies of Devi. Unlatching, right? Then there is Kilakam. You are unlocking. So in the first, you are asking for the permission to get unlocking, and then you are doing Kilakam, which is unlocking. Right? So हम लोगों ने कवचम, अर्गला और कीलकम कर लिया है. इसके बाद क्या होता है? Before we start chanting, so then we start chanting with first you do the Navakshari mantra. So the Navakshari mantra, very important mantra for the Devi Mahatmyam. For that matter, the Devi Mahatmyam is supposed to be nothing but a exposition of the Navakshari mantra. Just exactly as Bhagavad Gita is supposed to be an exposition on the Mahavakya called Tat Tvam Asi. Right? Chapters 1 to 6, Tvam. Chapters 7 to 12, Tat. Chapter 13 to 18, Asi. तो Asi को explain करने के लिए 6 chapters. वैसे ही ओम ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुंडाय विच्चे, ये नवाक्षरी मंत्र का एक्सप्लेनेशन देवी महात्म्यम है. राइट? तो देवी महात्म्यम के लिए नवाक्षरी मंत्र 908 टाइम्स का जप इज अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस.
It's also called Navarna mantra, no?
Navarna mantra. Navarna is different from Navakshari. Navarna mantra, okay, small difference. Yeah, actually, Sandhi Vichched का अपभ्रंश
Is
है.
the same thing.
Navavarna.
Om Rim Aim Klim Chamundai Vichched.
Navavarna.
Avarna.
Magar Avarana is different. Nava Avarana is different. Why? Because in the Sri Yantra, there are 9 Avaranas.
Avarna.
Each of them have a separate mantra for the Avarana. That is different.
Yeah.
Right? So Navakshari or Navarna mantra, whichever way you want to call it, it is okay. Then you start with the 13 main chapters of the recitation. Right? After the recitation, then there is something called the Uttaranga. The Uttaranga, first chanting is called the 3 Rahasyam. Rahasya does not mean the literal meaning of secret. And a lot of people, because it is said Rahasya, they will recite it by mumbling. Blah, 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 करके recite करते हैं. right? That is not the intent. Rahasya means it is supposed to be something that you will not understand very easily unless you go into it in depth. That is the meaning of that, right? So, what are the rahasyas? There are three rahasyas. Pradhanika rahasya, it talks about how the cosmology exists. Then there is the Vaikritika rahasya. Vaikritika rahasya talks of the forms of Devi. And then there is the Murti rahasya, the inner symbolic meanings of the Devi. Then there is the Devi Suktam, the two types of Devi Suktam. One is the Devi Suktam, which is the Durga Suktam in the Vedas. So normally the Vedic traditions, they recite all the three suktas: the Durga Suktam, the Shri Suktam, and the Medha Suktam. Right? On top of that, there is the Tantrokta Devi Suktam. Namo Devyai Mahadevyai Shivayai Satatam Namaha. Right? जिसमें हम लोग या देवी वाला स्तोत्र करते हैं. So that is called the Tantrokta Devi Suktam. All of these Devi Suktas are recited. After that, you normally say, sorry if I have committed any mistakes. Kshama Prarthana. Right? Very specific matra is there. So Kshama Prarthana. And then finally you ask for phala, which way I say, after having done all of this, the phala that I normally prescribe is idam na mama. Finished. Nothing to be asked. If I am asking, then I am presuming that I know better than her as to what I need. And that is an impossibility. She knows best. So why ask? She will give me whatever is I am supposed to be entitled to, I am requiring in this stage of my life. So what do you ask for? You ask for nothing. You just say, give me your presence. Give me your grace. Give me the ability to remember you in all times, in good and bad, in trouble and in happiness. Let me remember you and your feet all the time. That is all that you pray for. So that is the Falasruti. Having done the Falasruti, after this, in some traditions, in my tradition, we normally end with chanting the Lalita Sahasranama. Right? Lalita Sahasranama, then chant the Lalita Ashtotaram, then chant the Lalita Trishati at the end. That is how the entire Devi Mahatmyam ends. Can we chant the Devi Mahatmyam without chanting all this? Itna bada, bahut bada. You have made this entire reading into some major event. Can I not just pick up the text and start reading? Yes, you can. Of course you can. Will the results be the same? No, they will not. It's as simple as that. Right? If you cook biryani in a mitti ka handi on a coal fire in the dampakt method by putting that thing on an overnight chula and you cook it in a cooker, will the taste be the same?
No.
Guaranteed, no? So if the process is changed, the result will differ. You will still call it biryani. You will still call it biryani, but the taste will be different. Similarly, if you start off reading, so during Navaratri, a lot of people say, okay, if day 1, read chapter 1, day 2, read chapter 2 and 3, etc., etc. Over the 9 days, you finish chapter 13. Please do it. It is better than doing nothing. Right? इतना तो नहीं कर सकते हैं, नहीं करेंगे, कुछ ही नहीं करेंगे. No. At least do this. There is a particular part of the Uttaranga where it is called the Śākta Shloki. In 7 shlokas, the entire Devi Mahatmyam is brought in. Right? At least chant that. So easier methods have been given. So it is not that because we are not doing the Purvanga and Uttaranga, but by doing the Purvanga and the Uttaranga, specific benefits are received as a seeker in attaining to her feet. So that is the overall thing about the text. So now, Ratri Suktam. Ratri Suktam, one by one, we will go through the Purvanga text. Right? Ratri Suktam, it invokes Mahamaya, moves consciousness inward, establishes Devi as a cosmic reality, the darkness from which light arose. Right? Before the Big Bang, which is where light arose. What was there? Oh, you can't even define it. It is undefined. But it is cosmic darkness. The Ratri that envelopes everything. The Ratri that envelopes everything. That is the meaning of Ratri Suktam. Right? Then there is Devi Kavacham. It seals our consciousness, establishes the psychic boundaries. It invokes Devi into every limb and every direction. Right? So the body itself becomes Devi Maya. The Argala Stotra, Rupam Dehi, Jayam Dehi, Yasho Dehi, Dusho Jahi, continuously. What are we asking? Rupam Dehi, oh, give me external beauty. No, the beauty of the internal light that is going to shine through. Jayam Dehi, give me victory over my enemies, not to go and kill somebody else. Right? Oh, I have a court case. Let me chant Argala Stotram. Rupam Dehi, Jayam Dehi. I will win the court case. No, you will not win the court case. You will have to appoint a good lawyer to win the court case. Court case will not be won because you are chanting Argala Stotram. You will be able to overcome your passion for winning that by chanting the Argala Stotram. Correct? So that is the Argala Stotram. Rupam Dehi, Yasho Dehi, victory over the destruction of inner enemies, victory over ego. Yasho Dehi, Dusho Jahi. This internal Dusha means the duality. Let me win over this duality. So, by doing this, I am entering into your inner domain. I am entering into your inner domain. Kilakam removes the concealment. Right? It removes the concealment. Now, why does Devi Mahatmyam have such a very elaborate structure? It is very important to understand. Devi Mahatmyam is a part of a Purana. It is a mantra in itself. The whole thing is a mantra in itself. It is a Tantra in itself, which means a methodology. See, when we say mantra, yantra, tantra, what does it mean? Yantra means tool. Yantra means tool. Tantra means methodology. Mantra means energy. Now, if I have to drive a car, I need a car, yantra. Right? I need the energy to drive the car, petroleum, in whatever form, or EV hai to electricity. And the mantra is my ability to drive that car. I have to go and learn it from somebody. It will not be natural. Oh, I cannot sit down in a car and drive it. Correct? So that is nothing. It's mantra, yantra, tantra is everything that is in our day-to-day life also. So, but Devi Mahatmyam is not only a mantra, but it is also the methodology is also over there. It is by itself a kavacha. It also gives the ritual formalities of what is supposed to be done. It is a scripture, and it is a sadhana manual. No other Hindu Sanatani text is so many layers. It is not. So therefore, one can say that Devi Mahatmyam is like a sacred mandala, and you have to enter into it. Then if you have to enter into a sacred mandala, you have to purify yourself. Right? So that whole process, that is why with Devi Mahatmyam, there is so much of external, before the Mahatmyam, there is this Purvanga, Uttaranga, etc., etc. So therefore, you have preparation, authorization, invocation, closure, all of this becomes necessary. Right? Mostly you will find this in Śākta traditions only. In Sri Vidya also. There is a Nyasa, there is a Pancha Puja, Dhyana, Guru Mandala, Panchadashi Japa, etc., etc. Before the recitation of the Japa, there is all this will also happen. Right? Bhuta Shuddhi, Mantra Shuddhi, Mudra, all of that is also there only in Sri Vidya. And Sri Vidya and Devi Mahatmyam are very closely related. So I'm not separating them. So therefore, that is as far as this this is concerned. I've already told you that yes, you can go ahead and recite whether even if you don't want it. However, in general, if you are going to do a homa or a yajna, or you are going to do a purascharana, then reciting the Purvanga and Uttaranga is mandatory. Right?
Is there any book known as Devi Mahatmya or what, where we can find this?
I will share all of them. One by one, I will share. Devi Mahatmya, there is a book is there. The book is there. But all books do not have all the Purvangas and Uttarangas specifically mentioned. Gita Press Gorakhpur ka shayad text mein pura hai. I will check and I will let you know. I will put that text link in the book, in the group. Then, so this is what I have told you about. Then there is Nyasa, I also mentioned. Nyasa has multiple parts. Rishyadi Nyasa, invoking the Rishi, the mantra, the Chanda, and the specific deity of that particular of that mantra in ourselves. It is called the Rishyadi Nyasa. Then there is the consecration of the hands, Karanyasa, consecration of the body, Anganyasa. Then there is the Navarana Mantra Nyasa, installing the 9-lettered mantra in the body. Then there is the Matrika Nyasa, installing the letters, the 51 letters in 51 parts of the body. Then there is the Saptashati Nyasa. Certain portions of the text will be also assigned to the body. In Sri Vidya, advanced Sri Vidya traditions, there are even more elaborate nyasas that are supposed to be held, right? Where there is a Bijakshara Nyasa and so on and so forth. All of these are also done. So these nyasas, some of them are very easy and we will do those, right? Rishyadi Nyasa we will do, the Varna Nyasa we will do, right? So these we will learn. Then, so when we say that Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. Brahman alone can become, once you know Brahman, you become Brahman. Similarly, only Devi can worship Devi. So you convert this entire body into a Devi Maya by doing the Nyasa, right? Then I talked about Shapodharana, which I have explained already. Then I made some notes. That's why I'm just looking at the notes to see if I've not missed out anything or not. I've talked about the Shapodharanam. Yes, I have to explain this. So the 3 Shapa, Brahma's Shapa basically represents, Brahma himself represents cosmic knowledge, creation, Vedic authority. So when we say Brahma's Shapa, means he has hidden these from us. So it is the restriction of what is cosmic and lawful. By removing the Shapa, you are opening yourself to cosmic energies. Vashishta represents Brahma Vidya, right? We know Vashishta Rishi. So Brahma Vidya, he represents Brahma Vidya. He represents a lot of discipline. And he represents Sattva Guna. So therefore, the purity and restraint required are also opened up. And Vishwamitra, he talks about effort, right? Vishwamitra, we know the story. Multiple times he went through deep tapas to become a Brahma Rishi from a normal Kshatriya. That transformation required a huge amount of effort. So when we say Vishwamitra's Shrapa, it basically says that a certain portion of the effort has been concealed and you open yourself up to the effort. So you remove the Vishwamitra Shrapa, you are able to put in the effort required to be able to study the Devi Mahatmyam. So this is the meaning, actual meaning of the Trishapa. The 3 Shapas that is given by Brahma, Vashishta and Vishwamitra. Then, so that is as far as so then, okay, we will begin with Ratri Suktam in the next chapter, in the next session. So this is as far as the entire Purvanga is concerned. We have already done 3 of them. Ratri Sukam actually is the first one, and we will learn how to chant it. I will chant it with Swara, because it is in the Rig Veda. There is a Swara to it. There are 8 shlokas. You may choose to learn it with Swara, without Swara, it doesn't matter. But preferably, you will learn it with Swara. Then it is better. It sounds better also, right? Meaning also sometimes changes, right? In Sanskrit, the Swara changes the meaning, right? Aja means goat. Aja means Brahma. So Aja Srishti Karta means Brahma created. The Brahma is the creator of the world. Aja Srishti Karta means the goat created the world, right? So the changing of the Swara can change the meaning. So therefore, we will learn it with Swara. Now coming to the Shakti Pitas, quickly run through the Shakti Pitas, very simple ones. The shloka is there in front of you, so I'm sure you can see it. The first one is Gandaki. So Gandaki is actually at Pokhara. If you go to Muktinath, that is the place where you will find this particular Devi Chandika, and the Bhairava over there is Chakrapani. So, like in the earlier one, we saw Vimala and Jagannath. Here again, Vishnu is the Bhairava. So, Chandika and Chakrapani, and the cheek fell over there. The cheek fell over there. In a place called Bahula. Bahula is a place in Bengal, in the Bardhaman district. The Devi is Bahula, and Shiva over there, it's a very odd shaped Shivalinga, is called Bhiruka. And the left arm is supposed to have fallen over there. In Ujjain, the Mangala Chandika is the Devi, right? Some of you may have gone to Ujjain and you've seen the Harsiddhi temple over there. That is Mangala Chandika is her real name. Shiva is not the Jyotirling over there. The Jyotirling over there is Mahakal. He is separate from being a Shiva temple to or a Bhairava to Devi. The Shiva temple over there is within the Harsiddhi complex. You will find one Kapilambara karke ek Shivling hai. Kapila basically means brownish, and Kapila Ambara means sky. So the Shivlinga also is sort of a brownish in color, and the elbow, right elbow, is supposed to have fallen over there. In Chittagong, which is in the southern tip of Bangladesh, almost bordering Burma, there is a place called, there is a Devi called Chattala. So from Chattala, the word itself comes from Chattala, Chatteshwari, Chittagong. Chattala, the place called Chattala inside Chittagong district. The Devi is called Bhavani, and the Bhairava is called Chandrasekhara. The right arm fell over there. And in Kali Yuga, that is the place supposed to be worshipped. She removes the effect of Kali in that. In Tripura, the state called Tripura, near the capital, just outside the capital, there is Tripura Sundari with Tripuresha. And the right foot is supposed to have fallen over there. In a place in North Bengal called Trisrota, this is very near Jalpaiguri. Trisrota, the Devi is Brahmari, and the Shivalinga is called Ishvara. The left foot is supposed to have fallen over there. The right foot we have already seen, I think, or we may see it later, has fallen in Calcutta. So the left foot has fallen. And in Kamakhya, which is just at the outskirts of Guwahati, Devi is Kamakhya, and the Shiva over there is Umananda. And the Devi's Yoni fell over there, which is why it is one of the primary pithas for Devi worship. The Devi's Yoni fell over there. In Kamakhya, there is a period which will now come very shortly, just before the onset of the monsoon. You will find that suddenly there is a particular day, I think in the first 3 days of the Ashada Masa, there is a permanent stream that flows from the Yoni. That stream turns red, and it is said that Devi is bleeding. And therefore, they close the temple for 3 days, and they cover it with a cloth, and that cloth is then given outside as prasada. So for 3 days, the Devi is put into seclusion. During those 3 days, in the whole of Assam, and for that matter, the whole of Northeast, nobody will till the earth, right? Nobody will press clothes. So no activities that will put pressure on the earth are done. So it's as if, when a woman is in periods, then she is put into seclusion for rest. It was not for impurity. It was basically for rest, right? So similarly, the earth also, the earth being the Devi herself, she is at rest over there. For 3 days, she is put into rest. No tilling of soil, nothing is done, right? Agriculturally, this is also very important because Ashad is the month when the rain starts. So when the rain starts, you wait for the rain to fall and soak the earth before you start digging it. So that is why for 3 days you give it rest. So that is where the 17th shloka we will end, right? Just. Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.